What if you could take a simple, brilliant idea like Uber and use it to tackle one of a country's biggest, most frustrating economic problems? Well, that's the story of Porter. They did exactly that for India's unbelievably chaotic logistics sector. Okay, let's dive into this story of a near-fatal stumble and one heck of a comeback.
First things first, let's get a handle on just how big this problem was. Take a look at this. Back in 2023, India was spending a staggering 14% of its entire GDP just moving stuff around. To put that in perspective, in the US, it's about 8%. That's a huge difference. And this isn't some abstract economic number, it's basically a hidden tax on everything. It means the food you eat, the packages you get, the furniture in your house, it all costs more than it should, simply because getting it from A to B was a nightmare of inefficiency.
So here's how we're going to break down Porter's incredible journey. We'll start with the huge problem they decided to solve, then their brilliant Uber for trucks idea. After that, we'll get into the growth trap that nearly killed the company, the critical pivot that saved them, and finally, what the road ahead looks like for this logistics giant.
All right, so let's set the scene. Go back about a decade. You've got India's logistics sector, a $200 billion industry. And guess what? About 90% of it was completely unorganized. It was like the Wild West, especially for businesses just trying to move goods across their own city.
And that's the key term right there, intracity logistics. We're talking about the last-mile delivery that makes a city's economy tick. Getting products from a warehouse to a store or from a workshop to a customer's doorstep. It's absolutely crucial. And back then, it was a total mess.
Just try to imagine you're running a small business. First, you've got to somehow find a driver who's even available. Good luck. When you finally track someone down, the prices are through the roof. Why? Because these drivers might only get 1 or 2 trips a day. And then the real fun begins. There's no way to track your package. You're just sitting there making call after call, chasing the driver, praying your delivery gets there on time, which, let's be honest, it probably won't. It was an absolute nightmare.
So into this chaos step 2 friends, Uttam Digga and Pranav Goyal. They're working at JP Morgan, seeing Uber completely change how people move around, and they have this massive aha moment. They realize that same logic, that same technology, could fix this logistics gridlock. It was an idea so compelling, they both quit their high-paying jobs to go for it.
And this comparison just makes it so clear, right? Before Uber, getting a cab was a pain, the fares felt random and high, and you never knew what you were going to get. Well, logistics was the exact same story. Trucks were hard to find, prices were crazy, and reliability? Forget about it. No tracking, no timeliness, nothing.
This simple question, right here, became their North Star. It was their entire mission. If technology could organize the messy business of moving people, why on earth couldn't it organize the movement of goods? And you could argue that moving goods was an even bigger, more important problem for the whole economy.
Now this number is the key to the whole puzzle, 30%. The founders figured out that a driver's truck, their most important asset, was just sitting parked and idle 70% of the time. These guys could be doing 4, maybe 5 trips a day, but they were lucky to get 1 or 2. That one single inefficiency explains everything else. The high prices, the terrible availability, the whole nightmare. That was the problem they had to solve.
So, with this brilliant idea, Porter just takes off. They see success almost immediately. But this is where our story takes a really sharp turn. They fell headfirst into a classic startup mistake, the growth trap. Yeah, believe it or not, sometimes having too much money too fast is actually a really, really dangerous thing.
And just look at how quickly this all unraveled. In just a few months in 2015, they raised over $6 million. They must have felt on top of the world. So what do? They immediately hired 50 people to jump into a brand new, super crowded market, inner-city logistics, before they'd even perfected their main business. Then bam, the market turns, the funding dries up, and they have to shut down the entire new division and let everybody go. Just like that.
And here's the really crucial lesson. Their crisis wasn't just about a bad expansion plan. Their core selling point was hitting a wall. Hey, use us, we're 20% cheaper. That was great for getting their first customers in the door, but it wasn't enough to keep growing. They had to be more than just cheap. They had to be better.
This near-death experience forced them to make a massive pivot. They stopped chasing growth at all costs and instead got completely obsessed with efficiency and mastering their unit economics. That's a fancy term, but all it means is they had to figure out how to make a profit on every single delivery. It was time to stop dreaming and get the fundamentals right, and that right there is what saved Porter. So, how'd they do it? Well, they built a new playbook. First, they used GPS to guarantee on-time arrivals and give customers real-time tracking. All that anxiety? Gone. Second, they brought in permanent waiting fees. Sounds small, but it was genius. It gave customers a reason to be ready for pickup, so drivers wasted less time and could do more trips. And finally, and this was the masterstroke, they made return trips possible. A truck that used to drive back empty could now grab another delivery, basically doubling its efficiency.
And the result of all this, it was a perfect win-win-win. Customers got what they always wanted, a service that was reliable, on time, and still affordable. Drivers, their income shot up by 20 to 30% because they were suddenly so much busier. And for Porter, this new obsession with efficiency led to explosive, but this time, sustainable growth.
So that pivot, that move away from the growth trap, it didn't just save the company. It put them on the path to becoming a true leader in the industry, with a huge road ahead of them. And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. The proof is right here. 4.8 stars from over 500,000 reviews on the Play Store. I mean, come on, in a tough-as-nails industry like logistics, that's just incredible. It shows that their focus on quality really worked.
And believe it or not, they're just getting started. Their revenue in 2023 was impressive, for sure, but it's a tiny drop in the bucket of a $40 billion intracity market. And now, with their efficiency playbook locked down, they're going back into that massive $200 billion intercity market, the one they failed in before. Only this time, they're ready.
Porter's story is just such a powerful lesson, isn't it? It's all about mastering the fundamentals before you try to conquer the world. They prove that real efficiency is the best growth hack there is. And it leaves us with this huge question. As technology keeps evolving, from trucks to maybe even drones, what will it really take for a company like Porter to become the next FedEx or UPS on the global stage?